in the UK. For instance, my pond of 5,000 gallons has only reached a high of 21C this year, and has held steady for about 5 months at 20C, so it's not a great year for growth. We can try to work against nature by heating our ponds to 24C all year round and trying to grow our koi through the winter months. But this is a waste of resources, as everything is working against you. Expense of heating the water aside, koi need UV light to produce benny or red pigmentation cells. With the short days in winter and the weaker sunlight, this is near nigh impossible. The koi themselves are seasonal. They time their spawnings in the summer, with the longest day. They grow fastest in the summer. It is their season for growth. Warmer water in the summer produces the ideal conditions to grow. With good food, great results can be achieved. The long days and strong UV light of summer come into their own. So how do we maximize our koi growth? Easy answer: work with nature. By heating in the early spring and slowly raising the water temperature up to 24C and holding it steady for 6 months and then slowly lowering the temperature in the winter, we are plugging into our koi's natural seasonal rhythm. Admittedly, an altered season with a 6-month strong growing season at 24C and a month of raising and lowering slowly the water temperature in the spring and the autumn, we are giving the koi a shorter winter period. We can still heat in winter to stabilise the water temperature at say 12C, which will halve the heating costs for a start. So that takes care of heating, so now on to feeding. Please help me and the channel grow by liking and subscribing. The secret to feeding is a little and often. Auto feeders are a must for several reasons. A little and often is impossible by hand, 8 to 12 times a day, even if you are retired like me. It's a very hit and miss affair. You can gauge the feeding very accurately. You can increase or decrease the feeding very accurately. The biofilm in the filter gets a regular snack rather than a huge spike. By spreading the feeds evenly, the koi graze as they would naturally in the wild. Koi don't have a stomach. They have a digestive tract. Simply put, it's an endless conveyor belt of food in one end and poo out the other. By feeding a little and often, you are helping the koi poo. I use an auto feeder, which is a Fishmate P7000. On a frequent feed setting, you can increase the number of feeds per day, but you can also increase the amount of food per feed. Weigh the food you are using. Koi food varies considerably in weight, so weigh the koi food you are using. It's very useful if you want to increase in small increments. You can increase the number of feeds per day by 1 or more. So if you're feeding 10 feeds and increase it to 11 feeds, it would be an increase of 1/10 of your daily feed. Or if you want to double the feeding amount, you can increase the amount per feed. For instance, if you are feeding 10 times a day, 1 feed, but increase the amount to 2, which would double the amount of pellets delivered. Auto feeders are an essential tool, but remember to check them regularly to top them up. They do run out of food. I also keep a spare set of batteries. They last about 2 years when in use. It's better to have the quantity build up slowly. Please bear in mind the koi haven't eaten a lot if they've been shipped from a dealer, so they need a little time to get their digestive system working properly. I also use live yogurt to coat the pellets with before feeding. This helps kickstart the koi's gut process. Note, I don't put this in the auto feeder. I feed this by hand. How much to feed? Well, I don't weigh the koi and then feed 3% per day. I have an auto feeder that's currently set at 8 feeds a day, which delivers 4 feeds, which is approximately 40 grams of food a feed. So that's 320 grams a day, or 2.42 kilos a week. I monitor the waste. By looking in the sieve, I can see if there's any whole pellets in there. So if there are, I hold the feeding until there's only dust and no whole pellets. This means that the koi have eaten all the pellets before getting to the sieve. Then I can increase feeding slowly, allowing for the biofilm to catch up. Please help me and the channel grow by liking and subscribing. If I'm feeding heavy, I put filter matting in the sieve to catch the fines, and I rinse it out once a day. I normally have 3 filter mattings on the go at any one time. A quick look at expensive koi food labels reveals that you get what you pay for. Just compare the lists of ingredients between cheap and expensive brands. Look at the ingredients on the packet. Fish are cold-blooded, so that they cannot easily process warm-blooded products from the poultry industry. Make your own mind up and buy what you can afford. Buy the best food you can afford. Sake akari is the best, but not the most expensive, but you get what you pay for. Pellet size. Koi can only eat what will fit in their mouths. They are not sharks, they cannot bite, but they can suck a piece of bread to bits in seconds, which is especially important for growing fry. It is also relevant for small or young koi. There are fry foods, and the main pellet sizes are 2, 3, 4, 4.5 and 6 mil in size. Use what is appropriate depending on the size of the koi. Please don't grind up 6 mil pellets for fry. Fry need more protein in their diet, so buy fry food. They're worth it. Females tend to be bigger than males, partly because they eat more. The trouble with females is that they grow well until sexual maturity, then they switch nearly all their growth production into egg production for the next generation. They do grow, but it tends to be in girth rather than in length. With males, there is no major change at sexual maturity, so they often outgrow the female at this time. Gently increase the heat and the feeding slowly, so that your filter can adjust to the increase in loading. Remember, there are delays in the nitrogen cycle. Ammonia is transferred by the koi's breathing and poo. So ammonia will be in the system from the moment the koi go in, but nitrite is delayed and is only produced by the bacteria from the ammonia. There is a similar delay from nitrite to nitrate for the same reason, but all these processes use up oxygen atoms. As you increase feeding slowly, test your water for all 3, ammonia, nitrite and nitrate, and only increase your feeding in small increments once these have been established. As soon as you increase the feeding, the bacteria will be playing catch up. Make sure you have some products to help your bacteria, such as pure pond balls, prime water treatment and micro lift night out. These are very good products to have in your cupboard on standby. It is better to have them and never need them to find yourself rushing around on a bank holiday trying to find some. Next in the series is filtration. Please check out the Growth mini-series playlist at the end of the video. Please help me and the channel grow by liking and subscribing. Thank you.